All right, everyone, what's up? The SPM biology exam is just around the corner, so I figured let's have a quick study session on a topic that's pretty much guaranteed to pop up: how our body manages breathing all on its own. Let's craft this thing together.
So think about it. You just finished sprinting for the bus or running around the field. You're out of breath, heart's pounding, but you didn't tell your body to do that, right? It just happened. So what is actually going on behind the scenes?
Well, the magic word here, and you are definitely going to want to remember this for the exam, is homeostasis. It's this super important idea that your body is constantly working to keep everything on the inside stable and happy, no matter what you're doing on the outside. It really is your body's personal automatic balancing act.
So how does it pull this off? It uses something called a negative feedback loop. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a thermostat in your house. If the room gets too hot, the aircon kicks in to cool it down. If it gets too cold, the heater turns on. Your body does the exact same thing with CO₂, always trying to stay in that perfect, normal range.
Okay, let's get back to our running example. When you're really pushing it, your muscle cells are just on fire, burning fuel to create energy. And the exhaust fumes from all that work? Yep, that's carbon dioxide, or CO₂, and it starts pouring into your bloodstream.
And when all that extra CO₂ hits the water in your blood, it triggers a little chemical reaction. The CO₂ and water team up to form something called carbonic acid. But this stuff is unstable, so it immediately breaks apart, releasing a bunch of hydrogen ions.
And here it is. This is the absolute key point of this whole process. The more CO₂ you have, the more carbonic acid you make, which means you get way more hydrogen ions. And what do all those extra hydrogen ions do? They lower your blood's pH, making it more acidic. This is the trigger. This is the problem your body needs to solve, and fast.
So how does the body even know this is happening? Well, it has its own team of highly trained chemical detectives called chemoreceptors, another must-know term for the exam. These guys are sensory cells whose only job is to monitor your blood chemistry, and they are incredibly sensitive to even the smallest drop in pH. First up on the team, you've got the scouts on the front line, the peripheral chemoreceptors. Look at where they're located. Right on the major highways of your circulatory system, the aortic and carotid arteries. They're perfectly placed to be the first ones to notice that more acidic blood flowing past.
But the head detective, the one with a direct line to the big boss, is the central chemoreceptor. And its office is in the most important place possible, right in the brain itself, keeping an eye on things from the command center.
The moment these chemoreceptors, both the scouts out in the field and the head detective in the brain, detect that pH drop, bam, the alarm bells go off. They fire off an urgent, top-priority nerve impulse straight to the body's respiratory mission control.
And this right here is mission control. Meet the medulla oblongata. It's a part of your brainstem, and it's the command center that receives that emergency signal from the chemoreceptors.
So for your exam, you need to know this. The medulla oblongata is the respiratory control center. Its job is to get that alert about high CO₂ levels, analyze the situation, and then immediately send out the commands to fix the problem. So who gets these commands? Well, they go out to the effectors. Think of them as the action heroes of the story, the intercostal muscles between your ribs and that big diaphragm muscle. They're the ones who are going to carry out the orders from mission control. The medulla oblongata sends a very clear message to those muscles. Go, go, go. The command is basically to make them contract and relax much, much faster. This immediately increases your breathing rate, your heart rate, and your overall ventilation rate, the whole shebang.
And the immediate, real-world result of all of this? You start panting. By breathing faster and deeper, your lungs are working overtime to physically blow out all that excess carbon dioxide with every single exhale, getting it out of your system as fast as possible.
And as all that CO₂ leaves your body, the chemical reaction we talked about goes in reverse. The hydrogen ions disappear, and your blood pH climbs right back to its normal, happy level. The chemoreceptors go quiet, mission control tells the muscles to chill out, and there you have it. Homeostasis is restored. It's a perfect loop.
Okay, I know that was a lot, but it's such a cool system, right? So to really help this stick in your brain for the exam, let's wrap up with a quick revision flashcard. This puts everything side by side.
Let's just walk through the chain of events. In a normal state, CO₂ pressure is stable, blood pH is happy around 7.4, and everyone's relaxed. But then you start exercising. Boom! CO₂ pressure increases. What happens next? Blood pH decreases. It gets more acidic. That stimulates the chemoreceptors, which in turn alert the medulla oblongata,
which then sends out urgent signals to increase your breathing and heart rate. See that cause and effect flow? It's perfect for an essay question.
You know, this whole system is just a masterpiece of biology. It works so perfectly when we exercise. But it does leave you with a question, right? What happens when this system gets disrupted, maybe by a disease? Or what about climbers way up on Mount Everest where there's less oxygen? How does the body cope then? Just something to think about. All right, that's our deep dive. Good luck with your studies, everyone. You've got this.